Welcome back to the channel. We got a very informative video today. It's titled 12 Things Most Americans Don't Know About America. Is it possible that there are some things most Americans you don't know about their country? Absolutely. You may be surprised to discover some interesting facts about the United States that you never knew before. See for yourself. First fact, the U.S. Constitution is not written on hemp paper. Contrary to the urban legend belief, the U.S. Constitution is not written on hemp paper. Hemp was commonly used for paper production in the late 18th century when the Constitution was written, but historians have confirmed that the Constitution document itself was written on parchment. Parchment is made from animal skin and is much more durable and long-lasting than hemp paper. That's why it was used for such an important and enduring document. Next fact, Betsy Ross did not create the American flag's design. Another popular myth is that Betsy Ross, a seamstress from Philadelphia, designed the American flag. While she sewed flags for the newly formed United States, there is no evidence that she created the design. The credit for designing the flag goes to Francis Hopkinson, who drew inspiration from the British East India Company flag. The flag was officially adopted on June 14, 1777, and has undergone numerous changes. Next fact, more people speak Spanish than English in some parts of the country. Did you know that some parts of the United States have more people who speak Spanish than English? More people speak Spanish than English in California, New Mexico, and Texas. As of 2022, approximately 42.5 million people in the U.S. speak Spanish as a native tongue. That is about 13.4% of the population. Next fact, the U.S. has more than two political parties. The media always focuses on the two major parties in America, Democrats and Republicans. But at least 5 other political parties are registered to run candidates for office. These include the Libertarian Party, Green Party, Constitution Party, Reform Party, and American Independent Party. Next fact, Philadelphia was the original capital of the United States. The original capital of the United States was Philadelphia. On July 4, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was signed in the city, and it served as the first capital from August 1790 to December 1800. Washington, D.C. is the nation's capital today, but Philadelphia will always be the birthplace of America. Next fact, Washington wasn't the first face on the $1 bill. Most people assume the first face on the $1 bill was George Washington's, but it just goes back further. The original image on the paper dollar bill was Salmon P. Chase, who served as the U.S. Secretary of Treasury under Abraham Lincoln from 1861 to 1864. In 1929, these notes were replaced by bills bearing George Washington's portrait. Next fact, the United States bought Alaska from Russia for pennies. In 1867, the United States bought Alaska from Russia for a paltry $7.2 million, about 2 cents an acre. The purchase was made by then Secretary of State William Seward, who negotiated the deal. After much public outcry, Congress ratified the treaty, and Alaska officially became part of the United States on October 18, 1867. Next fact, there's a town with only one person living there. Manawi is the only incorporated village in Boyd County, Nebraska, United States, with just one resident. It was founded by a couple, Rudy and Elsie Eiler, in 1921. After Rudy passed away in 2004, Elsie became the sole inhabitant of Manawi. She does all the work herself, including collecting taxes from herself. Next fact, the U.S. Postal Service has its police force. The United States Postal Inspection Service, USPIS, is the federal law enforcement agency responsible for enforcing laws related to the U.S. Postal Service and the third largest police force in the United States. Their officers are sworn federal law enforcement agents authorized to carry firearms and make arrests for crimes committed on postal property or involving mail theft. Next fact, the American flag has 27 versions. Since the Continental Congress officially adopted it in 1777, the American flag has undergone numerous changes. Today's version of Old Glory is its 27th iteration. It has evolved from its original design with 13 red and white stripes representing the original 13 colonies. Next fact, Independence Day didn't happen on July 4th. You may enjoy celebrating the 4th of July, but the United States was declared independent from British rule on July 2nd when Congress voted to do so. But the celebration happens on the 4th of July because that is when John Hancock, followed by 56 other men, signed the Declaration of Independence. Next fact, George Washington didn't live in the White House. The first president to reside in the White House was John Adams. Washington never lived in the building, and it wasn't completed until 1800 during Adams' term of office. Adams moved into what was then called the President's House in November of 1800, but 4 months later lost his re-election bid to Thomas Jefferson. Alright, there you have it, 12 things most Americans don't know about America. If you feel like you learned something today, go ahead and smash that like button. When you hit that like button, that big thumbs up button, it helps get the video in front of a few more eyes, and that's what we're after, trying to get these videos out to the people. And of course, if you enjoy this sort of content, please consider subscribing to the channel. We put out new content daily, so there's always something fun and fresh for you to watch. I thank you for watching this one to the very end. I'm Brian Kingsbury. We'll talk to you on the next one. Bye.